Hi, and welcome to Faces of Angie, content with you in mind. Today, I would like to have a conversation about having a conversation. So, this is Real Talk with Faces of Angie, and a lot of people have asked me to kind of talk about this because some people don't know how to have a conversation. I mean, people have something to say. I believe everyone has something to say, and your point of view might not align with my point of view. However, in having a conversation, the first rule is to agree to disagree. So therefore, you will know just because you say something and I don't agree with it, or you say something to me and I don't agree with what you're saying, we can come to that common understanding and say, okay, well, we just don't agree on that. Or there may be some points that you can say to me and vice versa, where I could say, hey, that makes sense. I think I do agree with what you're saying, and the same for you. Or there just may be, well, okay, I see your point, but I still don't agree with what you're saying. So agree to disagree. Next thing that we should do is listen. That's very important in having a conversation. It's very important that you actually listen to what someone is saying. If I say something to someone and 10 minutes later, or maybe a day later, they say something to me as if I never said that to you. But I said that to you a while ago, and you're making it seem like this is your first time hearing it. So that means that you're not listening. That to me is a little disturbing. So I would say definitely pay attention and listen to what someone is saying. That goes a long way. And sometimes people, when having a conversation with you, they may not want you to respond. They just want you to listen so that they can get something off of their chest, or get, something out, or maybe just to vent. But also, again, even if that person is venting and they just truly want you to listen, please listen. Listen, that's what you should do. And that's what we all should do. That's very important. That's key. The next thing, when you're having a conversation with someone, don't talk over the other person. Kind of let them get their point across. Let them say what they have to say. And once they're done, you'll know when they're done because they won't say anything else. Then you jump in and you say your point of view as well. But if two people are talking over each other, that becomes an argument. No one is going to get their point across because people are talking over each other. You're talking at the same time someone else is talking. I can't get my point across. You can't get your point across. So we can't get our point across because everyone is talking over each other. And that could be in a two-way conversation or a multiple person conversation. That conversation becomes null and void. Just be aware when someone is talking. Let them get their thought out. Let them get it out. And then you intervene with your thought. And again, going back to the first rule, agree to disagree. You may not agree with what they're saying, and vice versa. They may not agree with what you're saying. But it's key and it's important that everyone in a conversation has their time and their turn to talk. I know in particular for me, I am a low speaker. My tone is very low. And maybe people do not hear me when I'm talking. So I get that quite often. Not with everyone. With certain people, I definitely get that. I'll speak. I'm having a conversation, and as soon as I start talking, someone else talks. And I'm like, okay, let me just let you finish. Then when you're finished, then maybe I can get my thought out and point across to you. Someone else will start speaking, and then I'm like, I think you want to have a conversation with yourself. Don't know why you're talking to me, because you truly want to have this conversation with yourself. So then my thought is, a person that is like that and want to have a conversation with themselves should probably go talk in the mirror so so you can hear yourself talk. The next thing is some people want to just hear themselves talk. Now, there's nothing wrong, again, with you wanting to vent and you just want someone to have a listening ear. But what I mean by that is if you're having a conversation with multiple people and you're talking over them, that is not only not a good way to have a conversation, it's also rude. It's rude behavior. You know, you can't always have the floor. If you ask a question, and I get this sometimes, you ask a question and then the person starts to answer the question, you just start talking. Why did you ask me the question if you truly don't want to hear what I have to say? You just want to hear yourself speak. It's rude and it's not a good way to have a conversation. I hope that this has helped someone out there have a true conversation with someone. And maybe if you find some of these flaws within yourself, sometimes I find them in myself too. Someone has pointed out to me, well, you know, when I'm talking, you talk over me. And I have to check myself and say, okay, wow, do I do that? Because if they're telling me that I do that, I obviously am doing that. And so I have to check myself and make sure that that doesn't happen again. I'll try to fix that problem. No one's perfect. I'm not saying anyone is perfect out there, but there are some times you have to check yourself and make sure you're not falling in lines with any of these things. If you can't agree to disagree with someone, if you can't truly listen to someone, if you're talking over someone when they're talking to you, these are things within ourselves that we may need to check on and say, hey, I find some of those attributes I do display in having a conversation, and I'm going to be more mindful of that the next time I have a conversation with someone. So I'm only putting this out there because I have been asked to by a couple of people who are experiencing these things when having a conversation with someone. And I hope that this has helped you all in some way, fashion, or form. And then again, we can look into ourselves. I am not perfect. I do display some of these attributes myself, but I feel like if we can just be mindful of these things that we are doing, then we can have better conversations with everyone. And then maybe that will alleviate arguments. There's nothing wrong with having a debate. A debate and an argument is something different. Debating is when you're trying to get your point across. Again, going back to the first one, I don't agree with what you're saying, so this is what I say, and these are my facts, and these are my statistics, and this is what I have to bring to the table. And then someone else can bring something, pose an argument to the table. That's a debate. But when you're having a straight out, full-blown argument with someone, that's when you go to talking over someone. This one is talking over this one is talking over. So it's like dogs when they want to know whose bark or bite is the biggest, or lions. And they do the same thing. What they do is open up their mouths, and whoever has the biggest bite, that's the one that's dominating. So some people do want to dominate a conversation, and if that's you, and you want to dominate a conversation, that means you pretty much want to have a conversation with yourself. And that might fall in lines of another video I talked about when you're now becoming a narcissist because you just want to dominate and you don't want anybody else to have a point of view, and you just want to make a person feel like they're belittled. That falls in line of that category. So that's not part of having a conversation as well. I hope this video helped someone out there. This is Real Talk with Phases of Angie. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Join the Phases of Angie family. Let me know in the comments something that you would like to talk about, or something that you would like me to talk about, and I can talk about that in my next video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.